in West Virginia. This is the first ever Black Eyed Promotions, WVSportNet.com joint broadcast. I am joined with Warren, the Hitman Browning from Lenore, West Virginia. Well, Warren, welcome to the first ever show. When I was talking with promoter Chase Hill, when we was talking about putting this show together, we wanted to start off with probably one of the more decorated and more esteemed boxers that he had on his ticket. The first name that popped into his mind was you, the Hitman. Now, Warren, for you guys that don't know, he's 17-3-2 with 12 knockouts. He's from Lenore, West Virginia. He lived in Kentucky a while, but we won't hold that against him. He's back over here on this side of the river. So we welcome Warren in now. Warren, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, excellent. Well, thanks for being part of the first ever show. Let's talk a little bit about where you fought. As I look down this rundown, I mean, you've been everywhere from Williamson, Logan, out west, Missouri, as far as to the big stage of Las Vegas, Nevada. Can you tell our fans a little bit about that?
Well, I started boxing about 7 years ago, and I started in London, Kentucky, where I was at, and I played college football and baseball there at Sue Bennett, and then I transferred to Eastern. Okay. And just got into boxing there and had real good support there. And then when I just kept on building a career and doing real good, then just started getting calls in, and we went from Nashville to Tennessee to Cincinnati, Ohio, to Louisville, Kentucky, to St. Louis, Missouri, to Nevada, Las Vegas. I mean, it's just been a blessing and a joyride. Oh yeah, no doubt, a ride nonetheless. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's an awful lot of miles behind a car. I know you flew to some of those, but here in this area, you drive around quite a bit. You got to fight for what our audience will know the name as soon as I say it, Don King, under his promotions. Talk a little bit about meeting Mr. King and what it's like to actually be in the big showtime of Vegas. Well, Mr. King is Mr. King. What you see on TV is Don King. I mean, he is his red, white, and blue jacket, and of course always talking trash and just being a promoter. That's what he's been since years. I mean, since he promoted Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah. I mean, he's still going to be a promoter, and even he was 80-some-year-old then, and he was still going full force. I mean, he as to me, he was a good guy, real nice person to be. Well, good.
Sometimes you get these, and I use the word legendary not even loosely because everyone knows Don King. When you get into those encounters, you really don't know what they're like. You only see them on TV and stuff, but you got to meet him firsthand, and that's awesome. It's probably once in a lifetime type deal. Let's talk a little bit about the fan support that you get when you go out to a fight, because we do a lot of King Coalfield events, and they're mainly Williamson, Logan, Madison area. Talk about some of the fans in Southern West Virginia.
Well, like we elaborated on, I fought on Vegas on the big shows, and like I was talking about earlier, I fought in St. Louis, Missouri, which was phenomenal, and 35 from 10,000 to 35,000 people, but there's nothing like home. I mean, and I know a lot of people say that just to try to get fan support, but everybody is just so, hey Warren, I seen in the paper, or hey Warren, we come to your show the other night, it was awesome, buddy, done great. Just a simple, hey Warren, thank you, hey Warren, we're proud of you, and honestly, just coming out and spending, it's hard-earned money. It's not easy the way the economy is now.
Absolutely.
And they spent their hard-earned money and to come to watch me do something I love. It's just so appreciated. I can't thank enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the economy around here has not been great, and it means quite a bit, to get those people into the Logan Fieldhouse, Williamson Armory, all those places. Let's talk about a little bit where you go down in Tennessee, your gym, John Faust, and the Faust Boxing Gym in Tennessee. Can you touch on that a little bit about what, maybe how he trains and what you do in Tennessee?
Well, I do my training as in, every boxer prepares works, but I travel on weekends, and I go to where it's just, it's state of the art, world-class trainers. He's been taught from, legendary trainer Ace Miller. And if you look at Ace Miller, he trained Tommy Morrison, and when he beat George Foreman for the world championship, and just, Roy Jones Jr. come down from the Southerns, which is amateurs, and Evander Holyfield.
Right.
They all met in Knoxville, Tennessee, and
Right.
they used to call that the Thunderdome.
No doubt.
And when you get down there, it's honestly, when you strap it up, you're strapping it up. I mean,
Right.
it's a man's game.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't just, or females, not meaning
Right.
anything biased that way, but I mean, it's a hurt world.
Yeah.
So, but it's also a learning experience. It's just, it's nothing to put down. I mean, love these guys and love what they do, and their heart's so in it. But as in, to be a competitor and step up to the next level, it has to come in training. And,
Right.
and that's, I'm not in it to lose.
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
a perfectionist, and I hate losing at anything I do. If two ants was running across the floor and I was picking one ant, I would want him to win. But when to do that, you have to prepare yourself, and the way you prepare yourself, I believe that's the difference in the fight game.
Yeah, absolutely. Warren, you have a great competitive nature. We're going to touch on that when we come back. We're going to step away and hear from a couple of our sponsors here on the first ever Black Eyed Promotions weekly show. All right, and we're back here with Warren the Hitman Browning. Before we went to break, Warren, we talked a little bit about your competitive nature. You told me when I first got to meet you, roughly about an hour ago, we were sitting around talking, and it really described to me exactly how competitive you were. From your last cruiserweight loss, you kept the scorecard, and I'm going to let you take it from there. Kind of explain what those scorecards do for you.
Well, I fought a world championship fight on Don King Promotions in St. Louis, Missouri, against Ryan Coyne, and of course, I was the underdog and going in, but they didn't know me. And first building in your record, they look at it thinking, they go for your record.
Right.
Didn't know that I could fight.
Yeah.
So at that time, they was coming after my record, but they didn't know that the old country boy could fight.
Right.
So we got up there, and honestly, I was winning in every aspect. I was just out boxing them, out punching them, out moving them, and they were like, wow.
Right.
Honestly, Don King and every one of them was like, oh, it was all in shock.
Right. Record was a little deceiving for what they saw, wasn't it?
For what they thought, they was like, oh goodness, what have we done? And of course, that was Don King's fighter I was fighting at that time, and which things happen. I got hit in the throat in the 9th round, and I went down to a knee and didn't come up. And of course, make a long story short, they stopped it for a reason. I threw up in my mouthpiece, and referee saw it and stopped the fight. And of course, that's rules and regulations. It happens. I was so anxiety I couldn't get my anxiousness down.
Right.
And nothing to take from Ryan Coyne was a decorated champion. But then I just hated to go that way. Knowing that you're winning and knowing that even though you traded punch for punch with a absolute phenomenal fighter, a world class world champion. And then of course you request the scorecards, and of course I did, and I got all 3 judges. I want to look down at it, and I seen that I was ahead by 3 points on all scorecards. Well, there's no way he could beat me unless he knocked me out, or what happens, stop the fight. Yeah. So of course, you get a little disheartened, but I didn't get disheartened and say, well, I quit. I tried. That's it. That's all I want to do. I still have a plan. I still have a goal.
Right.
I'm not going to be that person being 50-year-old. I'm not saying that, but I just kept those cards, and every time I train, I put them up and I look at them, when I'm getting ready for a fight. And I'll look at them, and that's a reminder how close I was from being a world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're 3 rounds out from being a world champion, knowing that you had it, that leaves a taste of competitiveness that, hey, look, that's what I started this for. I didn't start it for all the glory, all this, right? I started to be a world champion. That's what I wanted to be. and I still have that in my heart. So that's just a reminder for my competitors to stay strong, to stay focused, and here we go again.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I'm like you. You get that far, all that training, all that work, and a freak accident or something like that happened. I mean, I'm sure you get hit in the neck fairly often in boxing. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but yeah, that's a heartbreaker to go that far, no doubt. Well, for every nemesis, they have their protagonist, I think is the word for it. My English teacher will probably be yelling at me. But let's talk a little bit about Bobby Thomas Jr. When I say that name, what's the first thing that pops in your mind, Warren?
I see red flags.
Yeah.
I mean, just honestly, see red flags because it's really a part of unfinished business.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have unfinished business, it's like me looking at those scorecards.
Right.
The first time we fought, of course, I had an injury.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was an elbow injury, correct?
It was an elbow,
okay.
Hyperextended elbow, and so it stopped, and he got it through the stoppage where I couldn't continue.
Right.
And then we fought again. Of course, probably thinking I didn't have heart.
Right.
I didn't get to hit him that much as I did because I was moving and I was feeling boxers feel out by other boxers.
At what round did you suffer the injury?
The second round.
Second round. Okay.
And so we didn't, probably right when I was getting filled out. And then on this last fight, you war with the individual, not taking anything away from them. I mean, it was a war.
Right.
But in your heart that you won, and you look and you get a draw out of it, and that's fine. Okay. So because I can't say nothing, the Athletic Commission's been wonderful to me here. And that's their official scores. I take that, and thank God it wasn't a loss.
Right.
But but that was my dream. I wanted to come back home in my own state. I wanted to be cruiserweight champion, and then I wanted to fight for another world title.
Right.
And of course, the old saying is, "I've offered everything but the kitchen sink."
Yeah.
And if he wanted that, I'd throw that in too. For
Absolutely.
One more time, one more rematch.
Right.
And it was for the fans also.
Right.
Because we had so much good support, and it was probably, they say, the best fight in 30 years in the state of West Virginia.
Wow.
And so I wanted to give back to the people who hard-earned money that they paid to watch us. I wanted to give them one more fight. Like I said, the people come, it was even on his, it said, "Hey, you're my second favorite fighter.
Right.
Bobby Thomas ain't fighting, we want to come and watch you."
Right.
Or, I get emails or Facebook messages saying,
Right.
"Oh my goodness, please tell me when this rematch is going to be. We've got to see it again." And
Absolutely.
then, of course, that's pretty much red flags.
Well, a draw is in this area, is kind of like been told kissing your sister. You're not really getting a whole lot out of it, or maybe a kissing cousin or something. You said everything but the kitchen sink. Give a dollar number here just so the people at home understand, really what happened. Bobby Thomas offered $4,000 by Black Eye Promotions to fight Warren Browning. And if we kind of do like a quick conversion here, because I asked Mr. Hill, what that really meant, because I'm not into the whole boxing community and things, and he said that's roughly like $400,000 in Vegas type money. And I found that amazing that someone would walk away from that. Hopefully you guys, before the end of your guys' career, you get back together, and because I can see the motivation in your eyes, and I too would like to see that fight. But how many times did you watch the DVD?
Too many times.
Too many times?
Just really, I get up at 4 a.m. And of course, I work my job, and before I get started, I'll go in there and I watch, the 6th and 7th round. The 6th round was when I got knocked down, and he thought he had the fight.
Right.
And it wasn't. It was just exhaustion knockdown.
Right.
And when he come through, he thought he was going to go ahead and finish it off. And I threw a bomb and I caught him.
Right.
Boom. And then it reversed.
Nice.
Then the 7th round is when I gave him a standing 8 count, which I had him one shot away from ending it.
Right.
But when you see that, I watch it every day to keep motivating. Of course, it gets your adrenaline rush.
Oh,
of course, immediately I say, okay. And I start messaging, let's get this fight. Let's get this fight, And, I want it. It's nothing. I mean, a lot of these guys that's fighting in this now, I know them personally.
Right.
And I don't fight friends personally because I don't want West Virginia fighters beating West Virginia fighters to where they can't go out and show their skill case because they've killed their record.
You're just kind of beating up on each other. And nobody's really winning it. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I have some wonderful friends that would be a great fight. I know it would. But I refuse to do that because I know them personally because my heart won't be into it.
Right.
But I didn't know this. I don't know this individual. All I know about the wars in the ring, and now it's like the Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali. It's in me now. It's in my blood. Right. So.
Well, yeah, you're getting fired up now talking about me.
I
can tell you're starting to move around a little bit here now. Well, let's talk about your upcoming fight, Bill Shahan. That'll be October 25th here in Madison, West Virginia, King of the Coalfields, 9 or 10. I'm not real sure, but October 25th, Madison Civic Center. Shahan, he's 6'3", 240, I think is what I was just told. That's a really big man. Now you're stepping up from your cruiserweight into heavyweight. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Shahan, he's 9-4 with 8 knockouts. So 9 of his wins coming have been 8 of them have been via knockout. What are you looking for in this fight?
Well, Bill is a great competitor. It's a class act. He's a class act, and I know him. Like I said, he is a Western, but I don't personally know him.
Right.
He's got power in both hands. I mean, if you're going to be silly enough to leave your hands down and he cracks you, this is heavyweight.
Right.
All it takes is one punch.
Yeah, 240, that's a big man.
And he's very well respected. So, I mean, like you said, 8 of his 9 fights has been knockouts.
Right.
So, don't want to give him that chance. I don't want to be, doing this and all of a sudden I have a downfall instead of upfall. But it's going to be a great fight. Look to go to war. I mean, that's what I do. I call it war, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, getting in the ring and they're warring. But great competitor, great athlete, very well respected.
Right.
So.
Yeah. What's I was telling Chase, there's really no half-hearted people that I think could do this. A lot of people go through the motions and play sports or whatever through school. You got to really want it to be able to play or to be able to box, especially. I mean, if you don't love it, you're not continuing to do it. Well, I tell you what, let's wrap up here with Warren the Hitman Browning. When I seen your bio sheet here that Chase gave me, I kind of said, this guy's like the blue collar guy. I mean, he's the working man's boxer. I mean, you run 3 companies. Like you said, you get up 4 o'clock every morning, go to work. What's going on in the rest of your career? Because you said you got a few more years, and what's beyond?
Well, I have a goal, and it's unfinished business.
Right.
I have a couple years left in me. But, I'm at the end of my career. I'm not at the beginning of my career. But I'm not the type of person I'm going to go downhill. I want to get to my peak, and I want to walk away with pride and with dignity and saying, hey, I'm a winner. I'm not a loser. I don't like to be.
Yeah,
I don't take it and saying, hey, here's my record. I'm awesome. I'm 17-3 or beginning to go to 20-3 and say, hey, I want to get out of here. My goal was to be a state champion back at my home in front of my people, then fight for a world championship, win it, and then walk off in the sunset.
Right.
And I am kind of blue collar. I still take care of 3 business. I'm, West Virginia guys, and this is the well respected for all the West Virginia guys, not just myself.
Right.
You go anywhere else, these guys are sponsored.
Yeah.
They get up. Their job is to work out 3 days a week, or 3 days, three times a day.
Right.
And that's what they're paid to do.
Yeah.
We still take care of our families.
Yep.
We still work. We still take care of all the businesses, and then on our spare time, even if we have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to train, or train at 8 to 10 o'clock at night, we do it. Yeah. We put that effort in. To me, that's a true warrior. Yeah. That's a true competitor. You
Absolutely.
know, doing it for the love of the game.
Right.
And I respect a lot of these boxers that do that, because a lot of businesses around here, I understand the economy. They can't.
Yeah.
They don't understand that we need that, or it ain't that we're trying to bum off people.
Right.
Or I know these other guys is the same way, but the sponsorship is what helps these guys out. If they miss a bill, if they have to take 2 weeks off to get flown out to Vegas,
Right.
to weigh in, to do medicals and all that stuff, and they're like, oh, he's just asking for money. It's not that.
Right.
It really is very expensive sport.
It does have a purpose.
And it does have a purpose. But, you know, these guys actually work and they pay for it on their own, and they trade for it on their own. And
Right.
they're just, to me, that's a complete warrior.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Well, Warren, greatly appreciate your
you.
first show.
All
It's
right.
excellent. It's Warren the Hitman Browning, 17-3-2 with 12 knockouts. Come check him out October 25th here in Madison at the Madison Civic Center. Coming from Madison, West Virginia, Inside Hill Chiropractic, I'm John Foster. It's the WVSportsNet.com Black Eye Promotions program, I should say. I'm here with Austin Speedy Markham, one of the newest boxers to the Black Eye Promotion team. Austin, thank you for taking a minute to sit down here with us. Austin's 5-4 with 3 knockouts. He's a Tug Valley alum. Some might recognize him from the basketball court. I know when I saw his name, it's the first thing that I thought of. But now he's moved on to the ring. He's 20 years old. Just recently have been turning pro. This will be your 3rd year, right, being pro? Or your 1st year being pro, right? 3rd year fighting overall. Well, you've been busy, that's for sure. You've fought here in the state, or in West Virginia, and also got a rare opportunity to go to New York and fight on what was the first ever Golden Boy Live Monday night fights on national TV. And let me break that down to what that means. Is Fox Sports 1, the new network that just started, that is their ESPN Friday night fights. So that's he got the debut on that card, first ever fight, not just on the card, first fight they promoted. He faced an Olympian. Talk to the fans a little bit, Austin, about making the trip from, roughly the Williamson-Logan area up to New York.
Experience. You see guys that you've wanted to see since you was small and just come up, and then you go there and they're just walking around everywhere.
Right.
Big-time fighters. And sometimes a lot of people think it's a lot of pressure, but it's just an honor to actually go and be under those big lights for a big opportunity and actually try to make your mark for up and coming for boxing.
Now are the lights just a little bit brighter in New York City than they are here in the state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know, sometimes you see it and you think, oh, that's going to be so much more than what you expected, but when you get there, it's really not.
Right.
You did say something off camera I found pretty interesting. One of the things you noticed about New York is you saw a ton of cars but no gas stations. Yeah, I found that interesting. I never really thought of that. That's something to think about at home. You turned pro at 18. Very limited amateur background. You haven't fought very much. Talk about your first fight, your debut in Logan, West Virginia versus Bruce Runkle.
Well, I fought 5 amateur fights and then won the Tough Man and Rough and Rowdy.
Yeah.
And Chase Hill come out of nowhere, didn't even know the guy, and said, I want you to fight a pro fight. And I was like, for money? He said, yeah. And so he gave me my money and hooked me up with Bruce Runkle, which is a real good fighter. And I wasn't really ready for the pros. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Kind of got wore down in that fight.
Well, like you said, the Tough Mans and the Rough and Rowdies, they're 1 minute rounds as opposed, 3 1 minute rounds. your first round against Bruce was almost an entire fight.
Right.
I felt that to be a very good comparison when you was explaining that to me just a little bit ago. Well, it's not going to be long. You're going to get revenge on Bruce. January 4th from inside the Williamson Fieldhouse, King of the Coalfields will bring you Bruce Runkle versus Austin Speedy Markham for the West Virginia middleweight title, 160 pounds. Mm-hmm. How much are you looking forward to that matchup?
I'm excited. I wish it was tomorrow.
Oh, yeah? You be ready to go tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm pumped for it.
Okay.
I'm
all right.
wanting the rematch for forever.
What are you going to try to do in this fight that you didn't get accomplished in the first fight?
Take center ring more. I moved around a lot. That's what really got me real tired and wore down.
All that nervous energy building up, letting you bouncing around everywhere. Mm-hmm. Okay. Outside of that, anything else?
No. Just pick him apart.
Just win, right?
Yeah.
The guy, the Bruce Runkle, he also fought. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Terrell Gaucher. That's who you fought in New York.
Yes.
He knocked Bruce Runkle out, from what I'm reading, somewhere around the first round. Mm-hmm. So if that gives you any type of gauge as to how you're doing, you know, that has to, right? I mean, you have to feel more confident going into your second bout.
Yeah, it's the real confident booster.
If I had to ask you, what do you think your most impressive fight has been so far?
It'd be against Dennis Dales. He had a chin. I hit him as hard as I could the whole fight from the beginning bell. I hit him as hard as I could. In the fourth round, I was still hitting him as hard as I could, and finally got him down.
Right.
I didn't think it was ever going to end, though. Ever.
That has to be a little bit disheartening, right? I mean, you said you're coming from the shoelaces, and you said it seems like everybody that you faced so far just has an iron jaw. You don't know where you're finding these guys, but so that was. He's recognized as a really, really tough guy. I should tell the audience that, it's just a name to them, but in the boxing world, he's a pretty tough individual. Talk about the fan support, coming from the southern half. I know that you fought the one time in Logan, but how much of an impact do you think fighting January 4th in Williamson, which is pretty much your hometown, or close enough to your hometown, what do you think the fans are going to mean to that fight?
I fought in Williamson before. That was actually when I fought Dennis.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So I had a lot of fans there. And
yeah.
I think Williamson is my biggest fan base. Like, everyone will go.
Right.
I say, I'm fighting at Williamson Fieldhouse, and they'll be there. And it's going to be packed with my fans, especially for the title.
Right.
It's going to be big.
How much of an impact does that make on you?
You can't do nothing without fans.
Right.
You can't. I mean, when you hear them cheering, it just gives you that little ounce of energy to push on to the next round.
That's what I was going to ask. Does it give you just that little bit of edge, to carry on, or maybe train a little bit harder? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is a such thing as home court in boxing, as much as there is other sports. That's interesting. If you could go tomorrow and fight anywhere in the world, where would you want to go fight?
Where do I want to go fight? I'm not really sure.
Couldn't pick one place in the world?
No. It doesn't really matter. I just like fighting. I don't care where it's at.
We'll maybe ask you after your January 4th bout. We'll see if you thought of somewhere. Do you remember your first win?
Amateurs or just
the first pro win? Sorry. Does it stick out more than others?
Not exactly.
No.
It kind of got me on the path to keep going and to keep pushing where I needed to be, how to actually train for a pro. But I guess you could say it really got me started. Right.
A little different than just going out and running and stuff. I mean, there's a lot to training. Mm-hmm. Now, being from this area as well, I know that there's probably not necessarily a boxing gym in the Tug Valley area. Do you have to travel very far to train?
I train in Pikeville, which is probably an hour and a half for me. Go there. There's a lot of good guys there that give me work. Go to Carlos Turner's gym, the Rec, just talk to different guys, see if they'll meet me, get work in. Gotcha.
So anywhere it's open, you're in right now. I like it. Nate Butcher was his first win as a pro. I know you're boxing now, you're only 20. Obviously, you're not thinking about, what's after boxing. But for the future of your career, here in the next 4 to 5 years. Do you have any goals set in place?
No, just a short-term goal to fight. January 4th is the only thing that's on my mind.
Just looking ahead to the next one. There is some rumors about a possible fight towards the end of November. We don't have definite information on that, but when that comes available, you can check on kotcf.com for the info. Also, I'll give you a chance to kind of speak to the people. This might be the last time anybody gets to talk to you before your January 4th fight. What would you like to say to those fans?
I just want to thank you for being behind me every step of the way and give me the support to keep me going. Awesome.
That's awesome. Speedy Markham, January 4th, Williamson, West Virginia, King of the Coalfields. It will be 160-pound, right? West Virginia middleweight title fight between Austin and Bruce Runkle, which was the first fight he had. He lost to Bruce, so there should be a little bit of redemption in his eyes. Second go around, he says. Well, Austin, thank you for coming up, buddy. Best of luck to you. I'm John Foster, and thank you again for tuning in this week.